April. How may I help you?
Hi, April. My name is Susan Wilkerson. My husband is missing.
Okay.
And it's been about 3 hours. He must have planned not to be found. He's left his phone. He changed his clothes and I don't know what. I think he's on foot.
Crucially, McCaslin disappeared just a week after President Trump ordered the immediate release of the government's so-called alien files.
President Trump says he is directing the Pentagon to open files on aliens and UFOs.
But why now?
An investigation by a shadowy website called the Sentinel Network would link his disappearance to a disturbing pattern of more than a dozen missing or dead scientists and military personnel, all tied to the same space secrets.
5 of them went missing. 6 of them were dead. Of those 6, 2 of them.
Chavez, age 79, was last seen leaving his New Mexico home on foot, leaving behind his car, wallet, phone, and keys. Casillas, age 54, was last seen on camera walking alone on a highway, also without her wallet, phone, or keys.
She was about 30 feet behind that person she was hiking with, smiling and waving. He turned around. Next thing you know, she was just completely gone.
Pritchard killed his wife and placed her body into the trunk of their car.
The officer reports seeing a vehicle parked there with the trunk open. When the officer approached, police state a man was laying on the ground, a handgun nearby.
Jamie Gustitis was dead upstairs. Officers were here for nearly 40 minutes, and not once did they go inside her home.
The scene where Amy was found, there were once again inconsistencies. She was right-handed. The gun was found on the left side of her body.
Nothing was known about the shooter, whom police have since revealed made a disturbing sound during the massacre.
Some witnesses said he said nothing. There are some that say he made a barking noise. Don't ask me. I don't know why.
A former commander of the Air Force Research Laboratory, the organization responsible for advanced military technology and science, base that he once led, Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, is historically linked to Project Blue Book. This is the reported U.S. military's official investigation into UFO sightings.
He was someone that Congressman Tim Burchett described as the ultimate gatekeeper of the government's UFO secrets.
He's the guy that was had a lot of nuclear secrets and was allegedly the gatekeeper, and I've been told by several sources that he was the gatekeeper for the UFO stuff.
General Neil McCaslin ran the whole joint. He told Tom DeLonge that during the Cold War, the United States found a life form, an alien life form, and that he retrieved and oversaw the retrieval of alien spacecraft.
But what McCaslin's disappearance exposed might just be history's most lethal cover-up. The secret so dangerous, it reportedly cost American presidents their lives.
This is the head of the CIA, MJ1.
Going against the president's wishes of finding out more.
Which we cannot allow. If that was in '63, he was dead 1 month later in Dallas.
Now, I got told by people very close to the Trump camp that in his first administration, he was going to make a disclosure about UAPs. But the Commander-in-Chief of the US military was scared of his own government. He became aware that there are forces inside the US government that frankly would and have to protect this secret.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human.
Do you have any personal knowledge of people who have been harmed or injured in efforts to cover up or conceal these extraterrestrial technology?
Yes, personally.
Aliens.
So there has been activity by alien or non-human technology and or beings that has caused harm to humans.
What I personally witnessed myself and my wife was very disturbing.
There's an object that another country has that this object is so big that they had to build a building around it.
I naturally go, when I hear about sort of extra natural phenomenon, that's where I go to, is the Christian understanding that, you know, there's a lot of good out there, but there's also some evil out there. And I think that one of the devil's great tricks is to convince people we never existed.
These are the deepest secrets that governments have allegedly people to protect.
Didn't we tell this 3 years ago that we people for this? Is she not listening?
What do you think is happening here, and do you think that this is connected or totally random?
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half.
I actually spoke to Amy Eskerich. I don't think she killed. I do think there's a very high likelihood she was murdered. She genuinely feared that somebody was trying to hurt her or kill her. And I've got photographs, harrowing photographs of burns that she allegedly suffered from some kind of directed energy weapon that she believes was directed at her.
And according to him, she'd been studying the same UFO technology that the US government had safeguarded since the 1970s.
It's quite obvious that the United States has been working on anti-gravity right through the 50s, the 60s, and then it all went dark. And the reason it went dark, I think, is because they had a breakthrough and it was all buried.
In a giant cover-up that a 2022 congressional hearing would reveal had actually indeed included murders.
Do you have any personal knowledge of people who have been harmed or injured in efforts to cover up or conceal these extraterrestrial technology?
Yes.
Anyone been murdered that you would think that you know of?
I directed people with that knowledge to the appropriate authorities.
I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. I know I've said that several times. We're the Rocket City. We're the biggest deal you've never heard of. Von Braun was here and we won the space race. Huntsville is like the hub. Like, we are number 3 on the first strike launch list. If first strike happens, 3 targets, Huntsville will be one of them. Alabama. This is Alabama, dude, in the deep south. Like, Huntsville is the hub of, if a nuclear weapon is coming to the US from Russia, how are we going to see it? Most importantly, how are we going to shoot it down?
After double majoring in chemistry and biology, she earned master's degrees in electrical engineering, physics, genetic engineering, and nanotechnology. And together with her father, a retired NASA specialist, she entered the secretive world of gravity technology, intentionally conducting her work publicly so her disappearance would be noticed.
I started it as a public-facing persona to disclose anti-gravity technology through, because I told Mark this. If you stick your neck out in public, at least someone notices if your head gets chopped off. If you stick your neck out in private, they will bury you. They will burn down your house while you're sleeping in your bed, and it won't even make the news. He was like, if you haven't had a US government agent come to you and say, stop, shut the f up, stop, shut the f up. If that hasn't happened, they're gonna let you do it. They're gonna let you do it this time. He said it's been suppressed every other time. This time, they're waiting for someone to publish.
So what about the innovator who's afraid of disappearing?
That's a whole nother problem.
Even if you do it in the public, it still don't mean that the inventor won't disappear for lots of reasons.
Like Ming Lee.
Didn't we tell this 3 years ago that we kill people for this? Is she not listening? What is she doing? She's still doing it? What? We told her we were going to kill her 3 years ago. She was gone to work. I noticed the window is still open. I go to work, I leave it open. I come back like an hour later and the window is closed. I walk into our bedroom and my panty drawer has been dug through and there are pairs thrown on the floor so that I will notice that my panty drawer has been dug.
You can't hack the computer because there's no Wi-Fi card, but you can send microwaves in to get a 3D image of me typing on the keyboard, and you can reconstruct what I'm typing by microwaving me.
Yeah, so when she was here, we were sitting on the couch and we had just made popcorn. We were gonna watch a movie, and the popcorn in the bowl started to pop again. She started to like scream and vomit. She's telling me they're attacking us. Parked across the street in where there was a parking lot. The car was parked not in a parking spot, but like facing the door.
There's a whole lot of unexplained stuff. The difficulty is that her body was apparently cremated shortly after her death. There was no full coronial inquiry. I did make inquiries with local police about why there wasn't going to be a full coronial inquiry, and it was because of the finding.
The scene where Amy was found, there were, once again, inconsistencies. She was right-handed. The gun was found on the left side of her body.
Richard Eskridge, he did not want to be interviewed, but he told me on the phone, scientists die also, just like other people.
The moment you mention UFO, immediately what comes to mind are little green men, tinfoil hats. That's not at all what we're dealing with.
As soon as we look down, we see the whitewater, and then we see this little white tic-tac. It's pointing north-south, and it's just going forward, back, left, right.
Fravor says the F-18s began circling, Fravor at 20,000 feet, and the so-called tic-tac only about 50 feet above the surface of the water.
And then it starts coming up at us. We call it two-circle fight, but it's coming up, I'm coming down. So it literally is aware we're there. There's no doubt, because it mirrored me.
The tic-tac is Lockheed Martin technology. Why are we being lied to?
Disappeared for several years. The people at the Pentagon who were in touch with her cannot reach her anymore. She is allegedly back in China, and the Chinese, Red Chinese, are putting a lot of money into these exotic projects.
Are any of you willing to name specific gatekeepers within the root cell of the UAP-SAP Federation?
Well, one of them was named Dr. James Ryder at Lockheed.
Well, the whole thing started in July 2nd, 1947. That was the first crash.
First crash of an alien spaceship.
Of an alien spaceship. July 6th is when they recovered it and sent it to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. July 7th is when they held the press conference and told the people it was a weather balloon, which the press bought hook, line, and sinker.
I was informed in the course of my official duties of a multi-decade UAP crash retrieval and reverse engineering program.
We can say that the recent sightings are in no way connected with any secret development by any department of the United States.
I just don't see any reason why our government should be hiding it, and I don't like going into a meeting and an unelected bureaucrat tells us that that the president is on a need-to-know basis. To me, that should be very telling to America that there's a lot more going on with this behind the scenes than we're aware.
The top there are lots of beings. I don't know what to call them. I can't call them humans. There's lots of beings, things, look like alive. They have eyes and noses. They sure look like some of the space people you see in UFOs sometimes. You'll see more of those. And below that, there are all these drawings. And if you're a UFO enthusiast of that type, there's your first UFO, 42,000 years ago. Oh, that's right, working in a forest.
In a forest, yeah.
And where the investigators were sent to really go study it, because it was still there. And to their surprise, they did see a bright object that appeared like a UFO. And they tried to touch it and reported it was metal.
These were scientists.
These are highly trained technical people. What I did in that case is ask the question to the investigators. Go back and ask them a different question. Don't ask them if they touched and felt metal. Ask them, did they feel like there was a pressure on their hand and did the pressure get greater? What they felt was that the closer they got their hand to the light, the more resistance until they reached the point that the light was glowing around their hand and they could not make their hand go any further. Is there telepathy? Absolutely, I know there's telepathy. It works just fine. My friends who did some of the other things, and now their work's been published, and they did the first work some 40 years ago. Dr. Putoff's one, Dr. Targ, who's worked for me for years, is another one. It's fun being able to say these things.
If you believe we have crashed craft, stated earlier, do we have the bodies of the pilots who piloted this craft?
As I've stated publicly already in my News Nation interview, biologics came with some of these recoveries, yeah.
Were they, I guess, human or non-human biologics?
Non-human, and that was the assessment of people with direct knowledge on the program I talked to that are currently still on the program.
The controller told us that these objects had been observed for over 2 weeks, coming down from over 80,000 feet, rapidly descending to 20,000 feet, hanging out for hours, and then going straight back up. For those who don't realize, above 80,000 feet is space.
After upgrades were made to our jet's radar systems, we began detecting unknown objects operating in our airspace. During a training mission in Warning Area Whiskey 72, 10 miles off the coast of Virginia Beach, two F-18 Super Hornets were split by a UAP. The object, described as a dark gray or a black cube inside of a clear sphere, came within 50 feet of the lead aircraft and was estimated to be 5 to 15 feet in diameter.
I call it administrative terrorism. That's their quiver, their tool in the toolbox to silence people, especially, the career government service cares about their career, cares about their clearance, their reputation to climb the ladder. And when you threaten that career path, a lot of people back off.
At the time, his death barely made headlines. But now, nearly 3 years later, there is renewed interest in what happened to Michael David Hicks. Why? Hicks, a NASA scientist who spent decades studying asteroids and deep space, died in 2023 at the age of 59. No public cause of death has ever been released.
Based on our current findings and methodology, that we find no evidence to suggest that UAP are extraterrestrial in origin. And previous work from the RO has shown that most events are explainable as planes, balloons, drones, weather phenomenon, and instrument features.